Hey friends, let's talk about how I survived my first BookCon. So this is me leaving New Orleans in the airport. I had no expectations. I read Legend Born in the plane because I knew I was going to get it signed. And this is my stack of books that I was hoping to get signed for day one, all except for one of them I had reservations for. This is that crazy line that everyone saw, but I did not have to sit through that line. Thank God. So we went through to check in and we waited about 13 minutes to get through. Me and my friend, we had an issue with my sign in, but it was fine once we smoothed out all the kinks and got my ticket on my phone. So this is how the line grew within the few minutes of us getting inside of the convention center on day one. And by the time we got in, we were like, oh my gosh, it was a lot. Very intense. We walked up to the VIP lounge and just checked things out. They had coffee in there. It was an empty room to chill. And this is the bag of stuff that they gave us with the ticket. It had 2 books, a cup, like a little journal, bracelets. Wasn't a lot of stuff in that BookCon bag. So we go to the exhibit floor. In the exhibit floor, we're like, okay, let's just see things through and look at the schedules of the arcs that they plan on dropping. And after the schedule was set, we were like, okay, let's map out what we actually want to try to get, or if we're going to decide to do panels, or if we actually going to fight for the arcs. And it was like Hunger Games up in there, y'all. Like, they gave you a schedule, but they didn't stick to it. They gave you something to fill out online, and that was Source Books. That was a wild bookshop. I didn't even get anything from Source. Now, Penguin House, they gave out tickets, but the first day I did get a ticket, but I didn't know how they were doing the scheduling, so I didn't come back. So that straightened out for the next day. So whenever I did figure it out, it was more like of how bad did you want to wait for the book. And typically you get there an hour early and they'll tell you, okay, there's a line, no line. And then they start like the customers or us, the book readers, will start forming their own line at any point. And that was kind of like, okay, if you happen to be in the right side of the line, no line form, you would possibly get an arc. But look how pretty those books were. So they would give you like a sticky note or a ticket, and then if you're in the lucky first like 100 or so, you might get an arc. And I mean, each booth had their own system on how they were doing it. Some booths I didn't even get a chance to even try to get a ticket on art. Like probably Smut, they had a line out the door. Didn't get anything from them. But Bookfinity, I got lucky and I got like 2 books from their booth. And Macmillan, they were just like unorganized and crazy and wild. And I had a scheduled book to get from them, and I got that, and I got another book from them as well. So yeah, this is my favorite bookstore at the BookCon. It was in the back corner. Yeah, I love those ladies. They had some great books in that back area, which was pretty cool. And I bought like 3 books from them. Reformatory, which I got signed, but I'm still waiting for it to come back in from the mail, which
I'm
should
like,
be
I know
arriving
some of these
today.
books.
But yeah, overall, it was a lot of crowds, but not as intense. Once the panel started and people went to Indie Alley downstairs and spread out a little bit, but once everyone was on the sales floor at the same time, it was shoulder to shoulder. But I really didn't have I didn't have too many issues with the people. Maybe like 2 of the workers. One lady, she was like, this was for the book signing. I had one lady that was working and she was kind of rude to me. But other than that, look at Kennedy Bryan. She's so pretty and she has like a pretty aura around her. I read 3 of her books, but I didn't get them or bring them to get signed. I didn't have reservations for her. This was the Heated Rivalry book, I guess the panel. And I was there in the beginning, and there was music and it was like exciting, but I didn't read those books or watch that movie, so I kind of got a little overstimulated and was like, I just need a minute, and I left out and I went to people watch a little bit. Look at these little ladies. I thought that was so funny. And people watch and go back or go downstairs to Indie Alley, and this was so tight down here at the bottom. And you can walk your way through, but that wasn't my favorite area in that center. So if you just find out where you can navigate and you do that well. So I left half day to go drop off some of the stuff that I had in my book. Well, I needed to go get my books that I was getting signed that afternoon. So I attempted to go into the subway, but long story short, y'all, I did not need that subway. I went down there and turned back around and walked to my hotel, which was a mile away, which wasn't bad. And I had to go pick up my bag of books for the afternoon signing at 1 o'clock. And I had a signing every hour at 1, 2:15, 3:45, 4:30. All right, y'all, round two. I'm going back with all my bag of books to go get them signed. My friend, she went to go take a nap, but I'm going back at it. I'm on a mission to get all the autographs of all the people that I signed up for. Wish me luck. Whew. Peabody Bookstore had Reformatory, and this author was going to be signing, and I promised Lauren that if I saw it, I would get it and read it and get it signed. I told her I was too chicken to read her book, but since she's signing it, I'm going to read it. And she had a new book coming out that day too. Maisie Wood, this is the only arc that I did not get that I really wanted. This was Tommy. She did Children of Blood and Bone. It is a 3-book series. I read book 1 of hers. It is a fantasy book, very well written, and she was very popular. She had a long run. I would recommend her book. It was good. It was very good. Tracy Dion, she did Legendborn, and she is that girl. All these people were very, very nice and friendly. I really enjoyed the book signings. R.F. Kwan was doing a book signing right next to mine, but I didn't read any of her books, so I didn't have nothing to get signed. I decided to walk around a little bit in Indie Alley because I had a little bit more time before my next book signing. And this was the area where I felt a little overstimulated and hot, and it was busy and crowded, and I just was like, okay, let me just see what they have, and if anything stands out to me, I'm going to get it and support the independent authors. So I met this doctor. She wrote a book about Black women who had traumatic experiences with their moms, and she backed it up with a lot of research, and I bought her book. My only thoughts on that is I felt like it was a lot of projecting and assuming that Black women have terrible traumatic issues with their parents. Not every female has that issue with their mom, and I just couldn't relate, but I bought her book because it's a nonfiction book, and she was in the Indie Alley, and I just kind of felt on the spot, kind of. And the book is not here. I had to get it shipped to me, so it was just one of those things where I just kind of felt pressure. And that was the first book I bought in Indie Alley, and she sounded like she needed the money, honestly. But I did get that book. I met the cutest couple in Indie Alley. It was a lady, she was the writer, and her husband was there supporting her and helping her sell the books. They were so nice and welcoming. I walked up to their station, and she had 2 books in the series. They were very thin. It looked like a novella. And I was like, okay. She said it was 2 for $20. And I was like, okay, I'll get both of those books. And then the husband pulled out the other book that she wrote with a cowboy on it and a cowgirl on it. He said, this is our love story. is based off of us. And it's a city girl, which was the lady, and then a country boy from Texas. The city girl, she was from New York, and they fell in love, and they, became a pair. So this was her 2 books that I bought, and I ended up buying another one of her books. Very nice people. So this was Jasmine Guillory. She wrote By the Book and The Wedding Dates. She was very nice, very sweet. She even cried with some readers. This was a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Loved it. All right, I had a little more time in the indie alley in between signings, and I got to see a little bit more of what they were offering down there. And they had really cool booths and stations, and I met a lot of cool people just hanging out down there. My only thing with them is right in the middle of Indie Alley, they had Barnes & Noble, big business, selling books at regular price. And I'm like, y'all taking up spaces that y'all don't belong in. Why didn't they have Barnes & Noble upstairs? You see what I'm saying? Like, they always in the middle of something and doing the they was just doing the most. I think Barnes & Noble, they should have stayed in their lane because they were stepping on the toes of Indie Alley. So that was just my take on Barnes doing the most. Y'all already make enough money. Here's one book. I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. She was giving this book away as an ARC. It's her first adult fantasy book.
I had a cameo. It was me. That was so nice. I was like, I was like the Diana.
This was Tia Williams. She was everything I thought that she would be. I talked to her about the movie. Was she in it? Yes, she was in The Perfect Find. Loved her down. She was very, very sweet, beautiful aura. She talked to me for a good little while. And also, I found out when I got back, I have her ARC, her newest book. So y'all, I got everybody that I wanted signed. Look at my bag. Leaving out the convention center. Such a successful day. Loved it. 10 stars. 10 out of 10. Would recommend. Do it again. Such a good time. Good experience. Seriously, I love New York. I love it. Walking back. These are all the books that I end up getting signed on day 1. Everybody that I had a reservation for, it was nice and smooth and easy to get signed. These are all the books that I left with on day 1. Some were ARCs, some were purchased, but it was great. So I did commit to the fantasy ball. I had on wings, ears, a crown.
Dagger, oh my god. It's all about the accessories. I love that. Wait, what? Okay.
I was wiped out. Honestly, I think I would have enjoyed the pajama party a little bit better, and bedazzling and karaoke and all kind of quiet stuff, because I was so overwhelmed at this party. They didn't play any music that I like. It was mostly Taylor Swift and a bunch of women just like dancing and frolicking all over in the ball. look gorgeous too.
Hey everybody, it's me realistically going into BookCon.
General admission's gonna head this way.
Little baby, I'm VIP. My experience was pretty clean and simple and to the point. We got in like 2 hours early, and I didn't have that overcrowding as my experience of what we saw online. It was way worse online what people were posting versus what my experience was. So it was fine to me. Like, I would not do it again GA, but VIP was definitely worth that price that we paid. And you got a little bit more better treatment. So I didn't have that issue what everybody else had. The priority of my schedule was to get Julie Murphy's signature and Chloe Gong's book signed today. Chloe Gong signed my book at 12:15. As y'all know, I read her other book, Violent Delights. I gifted this away to a girl in a book exchange. I go back up to the exhibit floor, turn a corner. These two ladies had ARCs to give away. Easy. This lady, I waited in line for her ARC to get signed, and she gave me that one. It was very nice and easy to get. Across the way was Julie Murphy. They said she was only signing the book that she was ARCing away, but she signed if the shoe fits for me. She was very nice. After I got my last book signed, I just went to different publishing booths and got their schedule and got in line for some ARCs. Each book took about an hour to get after getting a ticket for the book release for the ARC. And you just have to have patience to do that. And people were rushing in trying to get the free books, but I also skipped out on most of the panels and the crossword puzzlings and all the different fun things. I did have one scheduled panel that I wanted to see, but I was too late to get in line for that, so I missed the panel. I think it was Sarah Beth Durst, which I was okay with that. I got a lot of free books in that publishing room where they were releasing them. I did not get to meet Christina Lauren. I would go again. You just have to know how to pivot and know how to navigate and ask questions and meet book friends. I met a lot of book friends. We did book exchanges of like bookmarks and all kind of bracelets, and it was just a cool experience. I would do it again. I enjoyed myself. I'm gonna post the books. These are mostly free ARCs. I actually purchased 4 of these books: Red, White, and Blue, The Takedown, The Crew, and another one. I'll post a book haul of all the books that I got and all the friendship bracelets and things I got too.